Dear President Donald J. Trump, Your Excellency, President Trump, you already opened the glorious golden age of America. I sincerely pay my deepest respect to your great leadership at this important moment of opening a new era. I believe that we must first prioritize the dismantling of the Chinese Communist Party in the Far East Asia region and the division of China into several pieces. On the Jeju Island on the Korea Peninsula is the seventh mining area, which contains many underground resources. If the United States, Korea, and Japan cooperate to develop the oil and gas buried under the seabed in this region, we can obtain enormous economic benefits. We must absolutely defeat the Chinese Communist Party, which is already ambitiously trying to monopolize the underground resources here. I hope that the United States-led oil and gas development project will be promoted. With the profits from the development, we will be able to manufacture many naval vessels and thoroughly blacklead the Chinese Navy. In order to promote such work, it is urgent that the President Yoon Suk-yeol return as soon as possible. Therefore, the active support of President Trump is urgently needed. So I sincerely hope that he will restore President Yoon Suk-yeol and make South Korea a bridgehead for conquering China and achieve great success. If President Yoon Suk-yeol of South Korea return early, the work of dismantling the Chinese Communist Party will also proceed smoothly. In the future, South Korea should double its defense budget and modernize its weapons to destroy the Chinese Communist Party's military power. So, the United States and South Korea should actively cooperate in the task of producing ships. In order to achieve this goal, I would appreciate it if companies with the world's largest shipyard, such as the Hyundai Heavy Industries of South Korea, actively invested in the United States and actively supported the early production of ships that the United States needed. So, today's topic is the People Power Party and the Democratic Party of Korea promised to break the ROK-US alliance with the Chinese Communist Party. Hello, this is Suyong Choi, the representative of Indo-Pacific Strategy Institute in South Korea. I would appreciate it if you could forward this letter to President Trump and his staff. My email address is as follows. If you want to contact me, please send me an email. Email address is dustwnd7@gmail.com. Once again, repeated. dustwnd7@gmail.com. I am a former case officer of the National Intelligence Service of the Republic of Korea, and I was a secret case officer who mainly dealt with North Korea and Chinese issues on the ground. I graduated from the Department of Chinese Language and Literature at Seoul National University and received a master's degree in Chinese simultaneous interpretation and translation from the Graduate School of Interpretation and Translation at Hankuk University of Foreign Studies, and mainly worked in China, the America, and Asia regions. Please forward this letter to President Donald J. Trump and his courageous and loyal staff. The People Power Party, which President Yoon Suk-yeol currently works for, visited Beijing in 2009 and signed a business exchange agreement with the Chinese Communist Party, becoming a subordinate organization of the Chinese Communist Party. The current People Power Party was called the Grand National Party in 2009. The Democratic Research Institute Director Yang Jung-chul, Policy Research Institute of the Democratic Party of Korea, visited Beijing in 2019 and signed a business exchange agreement with the Party School of the Chinese Communist Party, thereby becoming a subordinate organization of the Chinese Communist Party. You may think of all political parties that currently have members of the National Assembly in Korea as subordinate organization of the Chinese Communist Party. Therefore, unless all of these parties are disbanded and a new party based on a strong ROK-US alliance is created, the Korean government will not be able to help President Donald Trump with his strategy of dismantling China. And the Chinese Communist Party has ordered politicians belonging to pro-China parties in Korea to abolish the American-style presidential system. It has also ordered pro-China media outlets in Korea to create public opinion to abolish the presidential system. The presidential system of Korea was established by President Seungman Lee, the founding president of the country, by introducing the presidential system of the United States, and the Constitution of Korea was modeled after the Constitution of the United States. Therefore, Korea and the United States are twin countries, and if the American-style presidential system is abolished in Korea and the parliamentary cabinet system is introduced, the Korea-US alliance will naturally be weakened, and the person who receives orders from China will become prime minister. Korea will end up being a colony of China, like Canada, and it will make things difficult for President Trump. Also, someone like Moon Jae-in will become prime minister and make holes in President Trump's containment strategy against China. The current business exchange agreement between the People Power Party and the Democratic Party of Korea and the Chinese Communist Party is a slave treaty that cannot be broken at will by either party. This content also states that consultations should be held with China for the peace and prosperity of Northeast Asia, which means that the ROK and US military alliance should be neutralized or destroyed. The contents of the business exchange agreement signed between the Chinese Communist Party and the People Power Party, at the time Grand National Party, in 2009 are as follows. Memorandum on strengthening exchanges and the cooperation between the Grand National Party of the Republic of Korea and the Communist Party of China. On November 3rd, 2009, the International Liaison Department of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China and the Grand National Party of the Republic of Korea exchanged opinions on further strengthening exchanges and cooperation between the two parties and reached the following agreement. 1. The exchanges and cooperation between the Grand National Party of the Republic of Korea and the Communist Party of China play an important role in developing the Korea-China relationship into a more comprehensive and profound relationship. Therefore, the two parties will deeply promote exchanges and cooperation based on the principles of independence, equality, mutual respect, and non-interference in each other's internal affairs. The two parties will continue to strengthen mutual visits and meetings between leaders and the politicians and exchange in-depth and diverse opinions on common interests including Korea-China relations, regional and international issues, and experiences in state administration, thereby seeking continuous development of the strategic cooperation partnership between Korea and China, and working together for peace, stability, and prosperity in Northeast Asia and the world. Number 3, the two parties will promote mutual understanding and strengthen friendship through various forms of exchanges, including regular reciprocal visits between politicians of the two parties, and developed friendly and cooperative relations between Korea and China by supporting exchanges and cooperation between relevant organizations, which actively promoting multilateral inter-party dialogue mechanism in the region. Number 4, the two parties will promote mutual understanding and strengthen friendship through various forms of exchanges, including regular reciprocal visits between the politicians of the two parties, and developed friendly and cooperative relations between Korea and China by supporting exchanges and cooperation between relevant organizations, while actively promoting multilateral inter-party dialogue mechanism in the region. Number 5, amendment and the cancellation of this memorandum is only possible through amicable agreement between the two parties. Number 6, this memorandum shall take effect immediately upon signatures. This memorandum was signed in Beijing, China on November 3rd, 2009, in duplicate in the Korean and Chinese language, each text being equally authentic, each original having equal force. Since the signing of this agreement, the Chinese Communist Party and the People's Power Party have carried out a tremendous amount of personnel exchanges since 2009. So, most of the People's Power Party's politicians, aides, and party officials have already fallen to the level of the Chinese Communist Party's lackeys. The Democratic Party of Korea is also experiencing the same phenomenon. Therefore, the birth of the strong pro-American political party based on the ROK-US alliance is absolutely necessary in Korea, and only when a new party is born will the Korean government be able to actively assist President Trump's strategy of dismantling China. I'd like to suggest a strategy for creating a new pro-American party in Korea. First, President Yoon Suk-yeol should be reinstated as president, and then President Yoon Suk-yeol should leave the People Power Party and create a new party. Next, the People Power Party needs to recruit only politicians who have not joined the Korea-China Parliamentary Alliance. This will reduce the party to a small party with a few dozen members of the National Assembly. But it will be able to separate the Chinese spy politicians planted by the Chinese Communist Party from those with pro-American tendencies. Next, the United States prosecutors need to designate the Democratic Party of Korea as a terrorist organization linked to North Korea, while indicting and putting in court the Democratic Party of Korea leader Lee Jae-myung and former President Moon Jae-in on charge of violating U.S. sanctions on North Korea. And we need to impose a financial sanction on all politicians from the Democratic Party of Korea and issue Interpol warrant for their arrest. According to the Political Funds Act of Korea, any elected members of the National Assembly can use a personal bank account as a political fund account by simply reporting it to the National Election Commission. However, if the U.S. financial sanctions are implemented, no one will be able to receive or spend political funds, making it virtually impossible for them to perform their duties as a member of the National Assembly. And it is necessary to impose financial sanctions and ban entry into the United States on all Democratic Party officials, congressional aides, party members, and their families. Currently, the Ministry of Justice of South Korea has received a petition requesting the dissolution of the Democratic Party of Korea and the Progressive Party. Therefore, if President Yoon Suk-yeol returns to office and the United States designates the Democratic Party of Korea and the Progressive Party as a terrorist organization linked to North Korea, the Ministry of Justice of South Korea will be able to easily disband the parties. And among the People Power Party politicians, or politicians who joined the First and Second Korea-China Parliamentary Alliance, will have to hold a new National Assembly election if sanctions such as financial sanctions and a ban on entry to the United States are imposed on them. By uniting President Yoon Suk-yeol and pro-American forces in Korea in this way, we can create a new party, tentatively called the U.S. Alliance Party, and ruled out election fraud and pro-China, pro-North Korea, anti-American, anti-Japanese forces in Korea will be rooted out. Kwon Young-se, who is currently serving as the Emergency Response Committee chairman of the People Power Party, is a typical pro-China politician who served as the Chinese ambassador under the Park Geun-hye administration and lived in China for a long time. It has already been reported in the Korean media that his family members have made a lot of money doing business in China. In the People Power Party, only those who are pro-China can become presidential candidates or party leaders. So we need to reinstate President Yoon Suk-yeol, create a new party, and then hold another general election, naturally wiping out all the existing political parties. In order for President Trump to dismantle China, he must include and implement the political reform of Korea that I have proposed in his strategy to dismantle China. And currently, the media outlets that create the most pro-China, anti-American, and anti-Trump public opinion in Korea, such as CNN, are JTBC and MBC, Muna Broadcasting Company. These two broadcasting stations flew a helicopter over President Yoon Suk-yeol's residence in Hannam-dong, Seoul on January 3rd, 2025. President Yoon Suk-yeol's residence is a Class 1st military area and a no-fly zone due to the concentration of United States military facilities in Korea. These two broadcasting stations, knowing this fact, flew helicopters to film and broadcast all the facilities of the U.S. militaries in Korea, providing information to China and North Korea. Therefore, please impose a financial sanction on these two broadcasting stations and close them down on charge of hostile acts against the United States. If these two broadcasting stations are shut down first, anti-American and pro-Chinese forces in Korea will be shocked and terrified, and it will be easy to bring back President Yoon Suk-yeol. MBC went to Pyongyang, North Korea, to film a cultural festival commemorating the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympic Winter Game, but upon returning back, they left their own satellite broadcasting vehicles behind in North Korea. Satellite broadcasting vehicles are classified as strategic materials because they can be used as mobile missile control towers. Therefore, since they violated U.S. sanctions against North Korea, MBC broadcasting station can be immediately punished for violating sanctions against North Korea. The CIA has all the information, all the intelligence, so please check it out. And MBC is a broadcasting station that is effectively controlled by the Korean Confederation of Trade Unions, which receives orders from North Korea. Most of the staffs and the reporters of this broadcasting station belong to the Citizens Coalition for Democratic Media under the Korean Confederation of Trade Union, and they faithfully follow the orders of the Korean Confederation of Trade Unions to produce broadcast. However, behind the KCTU is the Democratic Party of Korea, and behind are the Chinese Communist Party and North Korea. Therefore, please designate MBC as an anti-American cartel and impose financial sanctions on it, and also impose financial sanctions on the Citizens Coalition for Democratic Media. Also, please designate the KCTU as an anti-American cartel and impose financial sanctions on it. If you designate the Korean Confederation of Trade Union, MBC, and the Citizens, the Coalition for Democratic Media, as anti-American cartel and impose financial sanctions on them, anti-American and anti-Trump public opinion in Korea will rapidly disappear. Also, JTBC is a company run by Hong Seok-hyun, the chairman of the 중앙일보. Chairman Hong Seok-hyun gathered pro-China figures in Korea to create a think tank called 여시제, and is creating pro-Chinese and anti-American public opinion in Korea. The meaning of 여시제 is that it contains the Communist Party's ideologies of moving with the times. JTBC is already on the verge of closing down due to astronomical deficit. But recently, Korean media reported that Tencent, a Chinese Communist Party company, invested an astronomical amount of money in JTBC. If a Chinese Communist Party company invested an astronomical amount of money in a foreign broadcasting station, it could effectively create anti-American and pro-Chinese public opinion in Korea through JTBC without acquiring shares. It can also create anti-Trump public opinion. It can also shake the pro-American regime and collapse down it. Therefore, JTBC should be considered a broadcasting station taken over by the Chinese Communist Party, and financial sanction should be imposed in the United States. And it is very necessary to impose financial sanctions on Chairman Hong Seok-hyun, personal asset, and the 중앙일보 and the Yoshida Research Institute that he runs to root out the anti-American cartel in Korea. First of all, I have told you a method to immediately eliminate the anti-American cartel in Korea in the United States, so please implement it immediately. JTBC and the MBC are like CNN in Korea, so please shut them down immediately through financial sanctions without any hesitations. They still look down on, they still disdain, and they still despise President Trump. So please show them the power of President Donald J. Trump. If these broadcasting stations are shut down, the Chinese Communist Party will be scared. And there is a group in Korea that constantly creates anti-Japanese public opinion and interferes with Korea, US, Japan Military Corporation. This group is the Udang Education and Culture Foundation. The chairman of this group is Lee Jong-chan, who served as a director of the National Intelligence Service under the Kim Dae-jung administration. When Lee Jong-chan served as the director of the National Intelligence Service, all of the security intelligence agents planted in North Korea areas collapsed down, and hundreds of counterintelligence investigators in South Korea lost their jobs and were kicked out of the National Intelligence Service. And the person who hired a large number of pro-Chinese and pro-North Korean figures to the National Intelligence Service inside, which has now effectively turned the National Intelligence Service into a subordinate organization of China and North Korea, is Lee Jong-chan. Currently, Lee Jong-chan has created a memorial foundation to commemorate his grandfather, Udang Lee Hwae-young, and is introducing his grandfather as an independence activist. However, on the website of the National Institute of Korean History operated by the Korean government, Lee Jong-chan's grandfather Lee Hwae-young is evaluated as a figure who actively engaged in anarchist communist activities to create a communist society under the extreme anarchy where all political activities, the state, centralized organizations, private property system, religion, marriage system, and family systems were abolished. He also created the magazine Talhwan, which advocated direct propaganda and violent direction actions. Also, Lee Hwae-young is evaluated as a person who established the Korean Anarchist Communist League in China, in Shanghai, China, in 1928, and he engaged in full-scale communist activities. However, on the website of the Wudang Education Foundation, operated by Lee Jong-chan, all of the Lee Hwae-young's communist activities are omitted, and he is evaluated as a good person who participated in the independence movement. Professor Lee Chol-woo, son of Lee Jong-chan, is a friend of President Yoon Suk-yeol, and Father Lee Jong-chan and son Professor Lee Chol-woo constantly criticized President Yoon Suk-yeol's military cooperation between Korea, the United States, and Japan. Lee Jong-chan and his son have joined forces with the Democratic Party of Korea to disrupt a government event on August 15, 2024, and are constantly creating anti-Japanese public opinion in Korea. Their anti-Japanese sentiment is something that the Chinese Communist Party and North Korea's Kim Jong-un like, and they are carrying it out as is. Therefore, in order to strengthen the ROK and US-Japan military cooperation to carry out President Trump's strategies of dismantling the blockade against China, it is very necessary to close the Wudang Education and Cultural Foundation by imposing financial sanctions in the United States. In addition, it is very necessary to impose financial sanctions and ban on entry into the United States on Lee Jong-chan and his son, Professor Lee Chol-woo, so that they can no longer create anti-Japanese sentiment in Korea. It is known that Lee Jong-chan also owns a luxury condominium in Hawaii, so the U.S. government should thoroughly seize their assets and apply financial sanctions to pressure them. Ji Young-mi is a woman's name. Ji Young-mi, the daughter-in-law of the Lee Jong-chan and the wife of his son, Professor Lee Chol-woo, has been appointed as the head officer of the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, and she is enjoying special privileges. When President Yoon Suk-yeol attempted to build a memorial hall for President Seungman Lee, who introduced the American-style presidential system and American-style Christianity and founded the Republic of Korea, Lee Jong-chan criticized President Seungman Lee as a monster and created public opinion to prevent the construction of the memorial hall. When the President Seungman Lee Memorial Hall is built in Seoul, all the lies that pro-China and pro-North Korea figures have told in Korea for the past 70 years will lose their power. And when all the people learn about how the American presidential system, Christianity, and liberal democracy were introduced to Korea, and how the ROK and US alliance was formed, they will recognize the ROK and US alliance as a gift from the God. And many citizens came to realize that 3 million Chinese troops invaded during the Korean War, led by President Seungman Lee, and that the North Korean army massacred civilians, so pro-Chinese and pro-North Korean figures were unable to gain a foothold in South Korea. Then, Lee Jong-chan, the chairman of the Gwangbok-hue and the mentor of President Yoon Suk-yeol and the father of his friend, constantly criticized the President Seungman Lee Memorial Hall and spread anti-Japanese sentiment. If sanctions are imposed immediately on this group alone, many organizations in Korea that create anti-Japanese public opinion will go underground. Among Korean independence activists, there were many who fought against Japan for the Soviet Union, not Korea. And after independence, they became known as independence activists without being properly evaluated. China and North Korea are using Korean independence activists and their descendants who worked to spread communism to create anti-American and anti-Japanese sentiment in Korea and make ROK-US Japan military cooperation impossible. The website below is the website of the National Institute of Korean History operated by Korean government. It contains the detailed information on the communist activities of Lee Jong-chan's grandfather, Lee Hwae-young. So, it will be of great help when researching communists who disguised themselves as independence activists in Korea. Website of the National Institute of Korean History. Thank you. Thank you for listening. May God's grace and blessings always and everywhere be with you and be abundant upon America, the great leader, President Donald J. Trump, and all free citizens of America. As President Donald Trump already opened a new golden age. Thank you again.